On January 2nd, 1974, a revolutionary moment in aviation history unfolded at Edwards Air Force Base in the Mojave Desert of California. Amid the dry wind and desert silence, the very first prototype of what would become the F-16 Fighting Falcon roared to life and gracefully lifted off the tarmac. This wasn't just another test flight, it was the dawn of a new era in aerial combat. That initial liftoff marked not just the arrival of a new aircraft, but the birth of a philosophy, a vision of air superiority that would reshape modern air warfare. In the decades that followed, the F-16 would go on to become one of the most prolific and battle-tested fighter jets in history. Even today, over 50 years later, the F-16 remains a gold standard, not merely for its advanced performance in its prime, but because it continues to evolve and outperform many of its newer peers. More than a machine, the F-16 has become a symbol of smart engineering, pilot-centered design, and the relentless pursuit of aerial dominance. The significance of the F-16 cannot be separated from the context that gave rise to it. Its origins are deeply rooted in the bitter lessons learned during the Vietnam War, a conflict that exposed serious flaws in the U.S. Air Force's approach to air combat. At the time, the American aerial doctrine heavily emphasized speed, payload, and long-range missile capabilities. Aircraft like the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II were fast, powerful, and equipped to engage threats from a distance. But they were also large, heavy, and not particularly agile. In the skies over Southeast Asia, these limitations were laid bare. American F-4S, burdened by their size and designed without internal guns, found themselves at a disadvantage in close-range dogfights against the nimble MiG-17S and MiG-21S flown by North Vietnamese pilots. The overconfidence in missile-only engagements proved tragically misplaced when missiles missed, jammed, or failed to track. Suddenly, speed and brute force were no longer enough. In response to these hard-won lessons, the U.S. Department of Defense launched a sweeping investigation into the nature of aerial combat. Known as the Red Baron Study, this project was a meticulous post-mortem of Vietnam's air-to-air engagements. The data spoke volumes. It revealed that most dogfights occurred within visual range, that maneuverability was often more decisive than speed, and that many of the assumptions built into 1960 S-era fighter designs were dangerously outdated. More than a technical review, the Red Baron study was a philosophical turning point. The brute force tactics of the Cold War were giving way to something more refined, something that emphasized agility, pilot awareness, and aerodynamic finesse. The conclusion was clear. Future aircraft needed to be lighter, faster in turning, and above all capable of winning close-range fights. This radical shift in thinking sparked the genesis of a new fighter. In the mid-1970s, the Lightweight Fighter Program, LWF, was launched to produce a low-cost, high-performance alternative to the heavyweight aircraft then in service. Two prototypes emerged: the YF-16 from General Dynamics and the YF-17 from Northrop. Though both showed promise, it was the YF-16 that ultimately stole the show. With superior speed, acceleration, and turning capability, it edged out its competitor and won the contract. The F-16 wasn't just designed to be another multi-role fighter. It was designed to be a thinking fighter, a jet that wouldn't just survive combat, but dominate it. One Air Force general famously summed up its strategic appeal by saying it would give America the edge to fight outnumbered and win. It was a fighter built with one thing in mind: winning the kind of wars that were actually being fought, not the ones imagined in boardrooms. By the time the F-16 officially entered service in 1978, it represented a quantum leap in fighter design. It was the first operational fighter to incorporate a full fly-by-wire system, which replaced traditional manual control systems with computer-aided commands. This allowed engineers to design an intentionally unstable airframe, something that would have been uncontrollable by human reflexes alone. But with fly-by-wire, this instability translated into unmatched agility. The jet could roll, pitch, and turn faster than anything before it, responding instantly to pilot input with breathtaking precision. And rather than sticking with the traditional center-mounted stick, the F-16 introduced a side-stick controller located on the right-hand console. Initially rigid and designed to sense pressure rather than movement, the stick was later modified, based on pilot feedback to include a small degree of motion, giving pilots better tactile feedback during high-speed maneuvers. Pilot-centric design was one of the F-16's most defining features. Its frameless bubble canopy offered unparalleled visibility in all directions, a crucial advantage in dogfighting, where situational awareness often determines life or death. The cockpit itself was designed with ergonomics in mind. The 30-degree reclined ejection seat helped reduce the strain of high G-forces on the pilot's body, allowing for longer duration, high-stress maneuvers without losing consciousness. This innovation, coupled with the intuitive layout of controls and the precise side-stick input, enabled the F-16 pilot to fly with greater endurance, precision, and confidence. Perhaps most importantly, the F-16 was equipped from the beginning with a powerful internal weapon. The M61A, 1 Vulcan, 20 mm rotary cannon. This was no afterthought. In Vietnam, the absence of an onboard gun had crippled the effectiveness of aircraft like the F-4 in close combat. By integrating the Vulcan cannon directly into the fuselage, the F-16 designers ensured that pilots would always have a reliable backup if missiles failed or targets came too close for comfort. This return to fundamentals, an emphasis on guns, maneuverability, and pilot survivability, was a conscious rebuke of the overly theoretical designs of the previous generation. Aerodynamically, the F-16 was a masterpiece of energy management. Unlike the F-4, whose tailplane had to exert downward force to balance its center of gravity, the F-16's CG was placed behind the center of lift, allowing the tailplane to generate upward force and contribute positively to lift. This might sound subtle, but the result was profound. Higher turn rates, better energy retention, and a distinct advantage in close-in fights. Combined with its low wing loading and high thrust-to-weight ratio, the F-16 became a machine that could not only turn quickly, but recover energy rapidly, crucial in any prolonged engagement. As time marched on, the F-16 proved to be more than just a short-term solution. What began as a lightweight dayfighter was steadily transformed into a multi-role combat platform, capable of delivering precision-guided munitions, conducting electronic warfare, performing reconnaissance, and operating in both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. Its adaptability became its greatest strength. Block by block, upgrade by upgrade, the F-16 matured into a high-tech warfighter. From Desert Storm to Kosovo, from Iraq to Afghanistan, it has served across nearly every major U.S. combat operation since the 1980s. And thanks to its relatively low operating cost and ease of maintenance, it became the export darling of the West, fielded by more than 25 allied nations. Now, in 2025, the F-16 is still flying and still fighting. In an era dominated by fifth-generation stealth fighters and hypersonic missiles, it may seem like a relic. But make no mistake, the F-16 is no museum piece. It's a combat-proven platform that remains lethal in the hands of a skilled pilot. Today, F-16s are flying missions over Ukraine, where they face off against advanced Russian aircraft, many of them direct descendants of the MiGs that inspired its creation. The fact that the F-16 can still operate effectively in contested airspace against modern threats is a powerful testament to the foresight and brilliance of its original design. In the end, the F-16 is far more than just an airplane. It's a philosophy in flight form, a testament to what happens when engineers, pilots, and warfighters come together to design not just a tool, but a legacy. It proved that precision, agility, and well-informed design could outmatch brute force and bloated complexity.